Alright my friends, my name is Jack Billings and I'm the CEO and founder of shedknives. And today, this is actually the second time I'm recording this video because I realize the last 35 minutes of my recording have been out of focus. So, you get round two, or at least I get round two, you get the final version. Here we go. Before I get into the video, as always, I have two things. At least today I have two things. And number one, this is the as always part. What are you carrying? I have three knives today. Number one, I have my Ontario Model 1 in, what is this? S35VN steel. Very nice. This one is a recent purchase. It's pretty cool. Nice clip on this one. I like the big clip. This has a liner lock as well. That's important. So, Ontario, there's that one. Number two, I have my zero tolerance in CPM 20CV steel. I think this is the first time I got that by not looking at it. We have carbon fiber scale and titanium scale. So we have those dual materials. Very nice. I believe this is a flat grind from what it looks like. I have a flat grind and very nice. So I like this one. This is the 562 CF by zero tolerance. Check that out. I have my, and then for the third one I have my Benchmade, what is this, the Osborne. There we go. I almost called it a bug out, but this was too slender for a bug out. So I have my Benchmade Osborne. This is my I call it the graduation edition because it has Jack Billings on one side, 2022 on the other. Class of 2022. Pretty cool. Has the G10 scales. Very smooth, by the way, and it's in S30V steel. So let me know what you're carrying so we can continue the discussion down in the comments. If you see someone with a cool carry, let them know because it might make their day. Now the second thing, before moving on to the video, I have two knives in boxes ready to be mailed ASAP, and I'll tell you why in a second. Why I have just these two ready, just sitting by themselves. Number one is the US Tonto 2023 shedknives US Tonto in Day Glow G10 with black Kydex sheath. And then I have the 2023 shedknives Sheep's Foot in Midnight Black. Okay, Midnight Black G10. Some people think this is my Carta. It's G10. 154 cm steel on both. Hollow grinds. 100% USA made. Fantastic. Now, why do I have two knives just sitting by themselves? Well, through all of the orders, all the people who love shedknives, I've had a few people kind of adjust things like, hey, can I get a different color US Tonto, or can I switch for the Tuatara? Just things like that. So that's why I had these two just ready to go. So if you want to pick one of these up, or if you want to adjust your current order with shedknives, then let me know. If you want to adjust your current order, send me an email, sales@shedknives.com. If you want to pick these up for yourself, you can go to shedknives.com. Again, US Tonto in Day Glow, and then we have the Sheep's Foot in Midnight Black G10. So check those out. Just figured I would share this with you guys. I mailed 17 knives today, so more and more knives going out. It's crazy. So fantastic. Thank you all for your support. Let's get into how I design knives and how you can too. Designing knives. This is a very interesting concept because you could make a career out of it if you really wanted to. You can make a career out of designing knives. And there are a few fantastic knife designers out there like Ken Onion, which I've had the honor of having breakfast with in Atlanta, Georgia at Blade Show. So Ken Onion, fantastic. Then Hinderer Designs, another big name, very successful in the knife designing world. So you can design knives. And I want to give you a little insight on how I design knives, so that way you can either learn on shedknives, figure out what I do, and or you can move forward on to your knife designing passions and journeys and all the things you want to do. But let's talk materials. What do you need? So number one, you need a ruler. This is probably the second most obvious thing of knife designing. And my ruler is clear, that way I can see through the ruler and see exactly what I'm doing. So a ruler, and I need to find one with a full metric system on it, because I practically only use the metric system when designing knives. I just find it better when I'm using smaller numbers, smaller details. I just like the metric system. Now, yes, I live in America. I've never been to a country that uses the metric system. Never have. And yeah, I just like the metric system. It just works best. And the reason for that is because I don't have to work with fractions. It's either 1, 2, or 3, or maybe 4, or maybe 5, or maybe another number. It's not 3/16, 1/8, 5/55, whatever, okay, which would be really 1/11, broken down, but I don't have to deal with weird fractions, okay? Millimeters and centimeters work the best for me, which is something I like. Now, the most obvious thing of knife designing is a pen, something to actually design with. I like to use precise V7 rolling ball pilot pens, black ink. The V7s are a little bit thicker than the V5s because V7, 7 millimeters. Metric system just makes sense. So I really like these. I encourage you to get some as well. This is not sponsored by them. I just happen to like them. Then you need long paper. Yes, you can use regular paper, but I encourage the long paper. Now, 8.5 by 11, fine. This is, I think, 8.5 by 14 or by 13. Again, inches. I couldn't tell you. So let's. What is this? I think 14. So 8.5 by long. That's what I use, and it just makes sense because I can do cool designs like this and just stack them as I move down my piece of paper. For the small ones, it's okay, but I don't know. I just like using longer paper. So that works for me. And then you need a nice place to do it, good lighting. You need some inspiration around you, whether that's music, a video, an object, or whatever. You need your inspiration sitting around you. And for me, which brings us into our next point, you need inspiration. So for me, I find cars inspirational. I like cars. The GT3, Porsche GT3 in, this is some sort of blue. I know all the light blue colors, not this. This looks like shark blue. But anyways, all of the model cars that I like, I own. At least most of them I own. There's always something out there though. Ferrari. I love Ferraris. Red Ferraris are fantastic. Lamborghini Huracan Performante, specifically love this one. This Huracan Performante, when it is knife designing time, this does not leave my sight. I will bring this all over the place. I will move this all over just because I find so much inspiration from the Huracan Performante. I think when most people think of a supercar, the Lamborghini Huracan Performante just kind of enters their mind, even if they're not thinking of that specific model. I also have some small ones here, so small Porsche. I also have big vehicle like the G-Wagon. So all the things I find inspirational, that I take inspiration from, I surround myself with. And I encourage you to do the same thing. So you need to find what inspires you specifically with knife designing. Yes, your goals are fantastic, great, but you need to know what gets your mind thinking for knife designs. Also Paganis. Paganis are just, they get my mind going when it comes to designing knives. I don't have any here now. They're all on the other desk that I use for my designing. So those are all over there. But just find something that works for you. Now let's talk about personality. Because personality is something that I believe most people forget to add in to their knife designs. And I have to use the sheep's foot for a second, because this is probably the, how do I say this? the loudest knife of personality. And I absolutely love it. This is not a sheep's foot style blade, at least a textbook definition. But who reads the textbook? Not me. I did that for 12 years. I don't need to do it any longer. So the sheep's foot, the shedknives sheep's foot, I came up with this design because I thought the design is cool and I like the name of the sheep's foot. So I'm going to do my own thing. I run shedknives, nobody else. I run shedknives. I design my own knives. So I get to decide what I call stuff. If I want to call this something unpatented, I can do that because I am the one who does that. Same for you. You can do the same. And I believe that is sort of a power statement when you come up with your own stuff. It's your own thing. That, my friend, is a power statement. And I remember at 13 and 14 years old, I got so many messages, emails, comments, just stuff. That's not a sheep's foot. You need to call it the correct name. That's not a Wharncliffe either, so don't call it a Wharncliffe. Well, I'm not going to call it a Wharncliffe because I'm calling it a sheep's foot. And if you disagree, if you don't like that, no problem. That's okay, because you have the same amount of opportunity to name your own stuff as I do. And I think that's fantastic, so we should respect that. And with all the hate I got for my sheep's foot, I just realized the more I sold them, the less that I had people criticize the name sheep's foot, which is very interesting because when it first came out, everybody was an expert. Everybody had something to say. But now that this is one of the best-selling knives, no one has said anything for a very long time. So just something to throw out there. I also want to throw out the part on everyone being an expert. I like to use the analogy, everyone is a dietitian once you start eating healthy. But in the meantime, they don't care. If you want to go eat Big Macs all day, fantastic. But the moment you pull out a salad, oh no. Everyone is a doctor. Everyone spent 12 years in medical school learning about salads. Everybody has something to say once you go on your own path to do your own thing. And that is my personality. So I believe my knives present that. They're absolutely thick. They can handle anything you throw at them. I mean, if you throw something at the knife, you're going to hurt the object, not the knife. And that's pretty much me. You throw something at me, you throw a challenge at me, great. The world is a revolving door of problems, but thank goodness I'm a revolving door of solutions. And my knives take that on as well. Now there are other knives, like let me use my zero tolerance, that are more modern in design, more modernistic, more, I guess, futuristic. You could even say the angles are super, it's an angular knife. That's a new word if it's not already. It's a very angular knife. Different curves, different geometry. And personally, that is not my style at this point. But for Hinderer designs, I think it's Rick Hinderer. Great. If that's his thing, fantastic. He does a really good job. I mean, obviously, if I'm carrying one, must be doing a good job. So you need to figure out your personality. You need to figure out who you are as a person. If you are a very complex, when you talk, if it's very complex and very, very just detailed, like my grandfather was a very, his favorite word was magnificent. He was just very, very detailed in his descriptions of things. And he was an artist, and his art was the exact same thing as how he described his stuff, how he described the world, how his perspective was. And guess what? His art was the same exact thing. So that just proves the point that your personality, whoever you are as a person, your designs are going to have that same look. So understand your personality, understand who you are, and let's move on to the next point. Next and final point. What does the world want? Sure, what you want is fantastic. You are one of 7+ billion people on the planet, and what matters significantly is what does the rest of the world want. Now, a few things the world obviously wants is the Buck 110, the Buck 119. Those have been selling for so long. And who knows, maybe they don't sell and Buck just continues to carry them. But when you're selling 3,000 Buck 110s per day, it's a lot of knives. So they're obviously doing something right, tried and true, like the F-150, the Chevy Silverado. These are all the Honda Civic, the Toyota Corolla. These are all cars tried and true. They may not be the most flashy, they may not be the best, but they're the most functional. They're what people view to be as the best. So just keep that in mind with what you do and your designs, because you need to see what works. What does the world want? But then you also need to understand, what do you want? And I'm going to throw this one out there just because if you want to look it up, great. I'm not going to throw out any photos. But the 2021 Shedknives Estella, I believe, has been my greatest design in personality so far. And sure, it doesn't have today's different processes that would make it very refined, but what it does have is who I am as a person. It's crazy. It's crazy. It does not make sense. It's very complex, but it's just very in your face. And now I sold one. Out of the entire year of the Estella, I sold one. And whatever. I think it's cool because I took the time to actually make a knife and to make something that I wanted. I didn't care what anyone else thought about the Estella. All I knew is that I wanted to publish something that I liked. Now, I thought about bringing it back just because, but I don't know. That was a different point. I need to come out with something even crazier. So I realize the older I get, I'm not even 20 yet, but the older I get, the more crazy and exciting and just enthusiasm I obtain from the earth. So figure out your personality, figure out what the world likes, combine the two in a way that pleases everyone-ish, because you can't please everyone, because if you please everyone, no one's pleased. So you need to get a ton of people to like what you do, and you need to like you need to like what you do, because if you don't, well, that kind of explains itself. You're not going to like what you do. It's going to be a lot of problems, and people are going to sense that. So those are pretty much my tips to designing knives. That's how I design knives. That's what I do. That's my background. I hope you didn't think I was going to pull out a piece of paper and actually draw knives, because that is a very solo adventure. I tried that once. I got the camera and I probably designed the worst knives that day than ever before. So I figured, let me just tell you how I do it. And I'm a big fan of showing you how to do stuff, but for designing knives, I was like, no, I just got to tell you. You just got to take my word for it on how I do it. And if you don't believe me, go to shedknives.com. Check out my knives. Go to the Instagram, shed.knives. That has the most up-to-date photos. Go check that out. Go see what I do if you are new to Shed Knives, which, thank you very much for watching. And that, my friends, brings me to the end of the video. If you like knives, like Shed Knives right here, you can go to shedknives.com. Like I said, I have the sheep's foot and the US Tonto and Dayglow. I have those available, ready to ship in the box right here, ready to go. And if for some reason I missed your order, maybe you did order these and I didn't see it, please tell me, because I've searched my system like 5 times now just to double check. And yeah, so anyways, these are available. Go check them out. If you know someone who may find value in this video, because I'm all about spreading good knowledge, spreading things that can help people out. If you believe in that too, share this video with a friend. Let them know that you're thinking about them and you think this will help them. And last thing, my friends, if you like knife videos, if you like knife resources, then go hit the subscribe if you have not already. There's a statistic out there that Shed Knives viewers, okay, at this point in the video, 60% of them are not subscribed, and 40% of them are subscribed. So if you want to be part of that 40%, get that number up. then go ahead, hit the subscribe, get more knife resources. How fantastic. Thank you all for watching. My name's Jack. I make knives. I'll see you in the next one.